Hello, my name is Jasmine, and I have a question for you. Between true love and money, which one would you choose? It's really hard to think, right? I feel the same way, so I refuse to choose. I want both. Please like and subscribe to the LDA channel to listen to my story. I remember the last time I had a job was 2 months ago, when my mistress suspected me of flirting with her husband. So I got some money and was forced to quit. After a long stay at home and frantic shopping, I was shocked when I looked at my account balance and realized that $500 was all I had to live on. Outside, there was a loud bang on the door.
Jasmine, when will you pay your rent?
Oh God, what should I do? I gagged myself with my hands, trying not to make any noise, hoping that the landlord would think I had gone and left. I heard footsteps rattling against the door.
Don't think that everything will be over if you ignore it. I know you're unemployed and just staying in the house. If you can't pay, you better move out so I can rent it to someone else.
I still didn't dare speak up. That man didn't have the patience to wait anymore, so he left. Was I going to be kicked out? I opened my laptop and frantically searched for work. Waiting for my mail from the recruiter was so long that it had been almost a week since I had to eat instant noodles to get by. I slept until 10 a.m. That day, stretched, yawned, and boiled water to cook the noodles. My laptop showed up with a message. You just received an email. I put down the cup of noodles that I was eating, and I clicked to see that mail. It was an invitation from an entertainment company. They invited me to join a dating show. I wanted to skip it, but below, they mentioned the prize money for the winner. That $100,000 immediately attracted me. If I had that money, I wouldn't have to worry anymore. I kept scrolling down to read the rule summaries. Players would participate in small games to get to know each other. If 2 people were steered with each other and chose each other in the final selection, they would win. Attached to the email was a photo that appeared to be a poster for the show and contained the time and place of the event. Thinking for a moment, this job was not too hard, and I was extremely confident about my beauty. Trying once didn't cost anything, so I decided to join. I carried my suitcase to the designated place. It was overwhelming. This place was like a castle. My heart pounded as I walked through the great hall to our room and stood in front of the door. And after taking a deep breath, I opened the door to look inside. The room was decorated in a Mediterranean style with bright colors and beautiful handicrafts. There was a table near the ground, and 8 small pads were scattered about. A few people were there earlier than I was. I waved slightly at them. Hello, my name's Jasmine. Nice to meet everyone. Hi, Jasmine.
You are stunning, like an actress in the movie I've seen.
I laughed at the compliment, took my seat, and we chatted together. Very quickly, everyone was fully present, and I looked at the situation in front of me. 5 men and 3 women. Wait, did that mean 2 guys had to leave empty-handed? The show really knew how to play. The host of the show was a young man. He held a notebook and talked to us.
Welcome to the Love Detector Show. You probably already know the rules of the show. I've instructed you to install the Heart Drop app. I will talk a little bit about this feature. In this app, there will only be pictures of the participants without any information. You'll have to get to know each other to know that if you have feelings for your partner, press to drop your heart. In case your partner likes you too, well, wow, this is the special feature of the app. If you both drop hearts for each other, then when you stand close to each other, specifically within a radius of 10 meters, your phone will vibrate to let you know. This is very interesting, isn't it? I feel like this is a suggestion that the show gives you guys. Ha ha ha.
So, what if all the guys drop their hearts for the same girl? If everyone is in a room at the same time, isn't the phone going to turn into a vibrator? Everyone laughed. The host turned to me and winked.
Then she must be really attractive. Are you confident that that person is you?
I'll have to get what I want. No matter how many girls show up, I'm confident I'll be the winner. The other 2 girls covered their mouths in amazement. The boys turned to me, clapping their hands.
good spirit, good luck. Enjoy the fun, everyone.
We started chatting and getting to know each other. One of the girls was an art school student, and she introduced herself to everyone with a beautiful ballet performance. All eyes were on her, including mine. The boys began to show their talents. If you are wondering why I didn't show anything, look, my look is kind of talent. I watched quietly, silently assessing the boys. Probably only 2 of them caught my eye. After the study, we were led to a break room. Men and women were divided into 2 separate zones. Very quickly, I got to know the ballet girl.
Hello, my name is Esper.
Jasmine, nice to get to know you.
Your opening act today was very impressive. After you said that, both male and female, all eyes were on you.
Really? Including you?
Of course, you know how to joke. I didn't see you talking much earlier. I thought you were glacial.
I was probably still captivated by your dance at the time. Esther reached out and lightly brushed my shoulder blades, grinning.
Oh, every word you say is so flirty. If I were a man, the first person I would press would be you.
If you want, just press. I'll definitely give you my heart.
The boys would be careful with you.
Her goofy way of talking repeatedly caught me off guard. I wanted to make friends, and I told myself to watch out for her at the same time. That night, I received all 5 heart drops. When the other girl wasn't in the room, Esther and I chatted again. This girl was really stupid. She carelessly talked about her weaknesses.
I've never been in love before. I joined because I want to meet and get to know everyone. I'm pretty timid and always think I'm not good enough to start a relationship. I really want to follow my heart and choose my partner.
Your heart is so pure. If you want to know who you've noticed, will you tell me?
Of course. I have a pretty good impression of a guy named Dean. What about you?
A little surprised. I look at her. That guy also caught my attention. I turned our conversation into another issue. You only have one choice? There are 5 guys. I mean, why don't you have more? Second plan. Don't you want to win?
I don't come here to win the game. I want to win myself. I'm going to sleep now. Good night.
I pulled out my phone and pressed a heart drop for a person. This girl's words made me think a lot, but my life was not like hers. The purpose of my participation in this show was for money, and I had to be the winner. 3 days after getting acquainted, one morning, when we went down together in the room the day before, everyone would play a little game that was similar to Truth or Dare. The heart on Jasmine's head was beating constantly. Everyone took this opportunity to signal their chosen person. When it was my turn, I chose to tell the truth. One of the boys I noticed, Derek, questioned me.
Jasmine, which girl impresses you the most? I mean, the one you believe will have to compete directly with her.
Pulling a smile, I gently pointed to the person sitting next to me. Esther is the prettiest girl I've ever met.
That means she's a threat to you.
Of course, I always have to be wary of girls who are prettier than me. You should be wary of me too, Esther.
No, I completely trust you.
Why did I suddenly become a bad person? In the next turn, I asked Esther who chose to dare. I dare you to express your feelings to the person you've been most impressed with so far. The boys all closed their eyes nervously, but Esther actually went over to Dean, wrapped her arms around him from behind, blew him a soft kiss, and then looked at me and smiling. Dean also looked at me awkwardly. Esther's actions seemed to spark a fight. Aggressiveness emerged, and the balance between Derek and Dean in my head began to tilt more towards Dean. I was the focus of attention for all the guys here, but from now until the end of the show, I couldn't foretell anything. I needed to lock on to my target quickly. Since I was the girl who received all 5 heart drops during the first 3 days, the show gave me a reward. I had the chance to choose one of the guys to go on a date with. 5 boys stood in front of me. Dean and Derek stood next to each other. I pretended to be confused for a long time between Dean and Derek. I wanted these 2 guys to be at odds with me. I stopped in front of Dean, looked him in the eye, gave Dean a chance, and when Dean held out his hand, the moment he thought I would choose him, I turned away, pulling Derek's arm. I'm happy to have dinner with you. Looking at Dean's disapproval, I knew I was successful. Derek and I had a romantic dinner that night. Derek's appearance was what attracted me. But this guy was an insecure choice. Derek seemed to recognize my baiting this morning as well. Not wanting to lose this prey, I revealed a little information to him.
I'm curious. I wonder who Jasmine used her heart drop for. Is it me?
I dropped hearts for 3 people. You and Dean are 2 of the 3 I've chosen.
Who's the other? Isn't it convenient to say?
Allow me to keep it a secret. This information was enough to detain Derek. He was just a backup anyway. The last person I chose had to be the one who only had me in his eyes. It seemed that most of them had identified their targets. That night, I only got 3 hearts dropped. Esther got the first. Needless to say, I guessed whose heart dropped. The next morning in the living room, Dean and Esther were having a good conversation. Dean and Esther's hearts were all beating. I wore a sexy suit and deliberately glided in front of him, winking at Dean. Dean quickly ignored Esther and moved forward to strike up a conversation with me. That annoyed Esther. All her expressions were seen by me. Derek noticed me standing with Dean, and he immediately moved forward, wanting to join in. Watching the 2 guys nudge each other's shoulders to be closer to me made me feel very excited. On Jas and Derek's heads, their hearts were beating. Today's game was for girls. Since Dean was the one who had received the most heart drops, the girls would have to fight each other for the reward, which was to have a date with him. We played a pillow fight. 2 people standing on a square mattress, fighting with pillows. Whoever fell off the pillow first lost. The first turn was me. And the other girl, showing a cold face. Only 3 hits, that girl was knocked down by me. The boys cheered enthusiastically. The next turn was Esther and I. Not wanting to be strenuous with her, I deliberately didn't fight back, pretending to slip my hand and drop my pillow. One hand held Esther's, and the other dodged the attack. However, she was still annoyed by what had happened in the morning. Esther hit so hard, like we had a feud with each other from our past lives. It had been over 2 minutes, and the game hadn't ended. Wasn't Esther tired? Having no choice, I shrugged and tucked on a pillow in her hand. Losing her balance, Esther fell to the ground. I glanced over at Dean. That idiot's face was very pleased. Did he really think we were fighting over wanting to date him? Idiot! Our drama worked very well. The emotional triangle between me, Dean, and Esther became the top concern of the show. I went on a date with Dean that night. It turned out that from the beginning of the show, Dean noticed and always dropped his heart for me. Because of the last game, he dropped heart for Esther. So, the win was clearly in my favor, and I felt much more secure. When I returned to our room that night, Esther refused to talk to me. The heart drop I got was 4. Maybe Dean didn't drop his heart for Esther that day. The next few days, Dean and Derek were still attached to me, and of course, I was more intimate with Dean. I had to keep the victory in my hands, but that meant that Esther's sympathy for me was pushed to infinity. Taking the opportunity to go roller skating, I would make peace with Esther. God also wanted to help me. Esther was completely blind to this game. I slowly approached. She's struggling to get up with her bulky shoes. Hold on to my hand, I'll show you.
I don't need to.
Without waiting for consent, I pulled Esther up. She wanted to push me away but nearly fell from standing unsteadily. Therefore, she had to cling to my shoulders. I laughed, shaking my head, slowly helping her get used to the shoes. That idiot girl had completely forgotten to be mad at me. Things were going well when Dean interjected in the middle. I deliberately pulled Esther the other way, but Dean kept sliding towards us. The situation was half laughing and half crying right now. On my left, Dean wanted to pull my hand away. On my right, I was supporting Esther's hand. I was unpleasant with Dean, and Esther was angry at me. Damn! Esther snatched my hand and clung to the wall, sliding back to the starting position. From that moment on, no matter how hard I tried to talk, Esther still didn't care about me. The day of selection finally came, and not unexpectedly, most of the guys chose me, and my choice was Dean. We won and got bonuses. After checking my account, I realized that $100,000 was in my hands, so I took my suitcase and left. Dean invited me to his car as I approached the door. Good, I didn't have to spend money calling a taxi. Dean was so excited in the car. He kept babbling about his future plans. Where were we going to have dinner? Which country should we travel to if we date? Along the way, I didn't say anything. It wasn't until the car stopped where I wanted to go that I told Dean the truth. Do you remember the time we dated and I said I gave 3 people a heart drop?
Of course I do. After that dinner, we seemed to have tacitly confirmed that we were going to choose each other, didn't we?
Have you ever wondered who that third person is? Dean looked at me blankly, shaking his head slightly. Pulling up a smile, I put on my glasses. The first person I dropped a heart on was Esther. The reason I picked you in the last round was because Esther noticed you too. I have to get rid of my rivalry.
But Esther is female, and Derek, you were confused between me and him.
No one said I couldn't give my heart for women. Derek, and you were just a tool for me to win. Dean's face was extremely ridiculous at that moment. He was dizzy and speechless. I got off, closed the door, looked out at the window and told Dean, the purpose of me coming to this show is to make money. But I seem to get more than that. Thanks for your help! Cheer up! We're all winners!
What are you going to do?
I have money. The next step, of course, is to go find her.